It is that time of week again. The semi-factory in Nevada is moving along great, and this week's big news is equipment is being loaded in, and that means, of course, that my projection of the very end of the first half of 2025 for production appears to be roughly on schedule. We're going to go over some of the bigger highlights there, and we're going to get to all your questions and comments from last week. And when I say all, I mean some, and when I say we're gonna, I'm saying you have to deal with it. I'm Brian. Welcome to Futuraza. I'm joined by Mark, my good buddy here. We'll see how the editor cleans that up, but that's fine. That's not my job. I just make the messes. He makes them less messy. Hopefully this week we're better in our little squares. We'll find out if that works, hopefully. Mark, how are you?
Doing well, Brian. How are you today?
Chilly. I'm a little chilly, but I'm doing good. Things are going well. Rehearsal for the play is going nicely. I am really pleased with my castmates, and it's going to be a heck of a show. I will have coupon codes for discount tickets should anyone wish to come and watch me fall down on stage.
Wow.
Yeah. The director said, "Is that something you can do?" I was like, "That's very hurtful. But maybe. We'll find out." So first of all, how dare you? Second of all, I don't know. We'll find out. It's going to be blocking that scene, I think, tomorrow. Okay. What are we doing? I have no idea. Here we are in Nevada. This is, of course, the factory. As usual, I will not be playing the video. I wish for you to go check it out yourself. I've already given it the thumbs up. You can thumbs up this video. It doesn't cost you anything. Or if you're in a real spicy mood, thumb it down. I don't know. It does the same thing. Huge thanks to Zangler for all the hard work he's doing in Nevada to keep us informed. Boy, I'm just having a fun time with my caching today. So here we can see inside. If you look inside, can you see that? We've got we've got crates, deliveries inside many of these doors. Little tiny speck of a human walking on the roof to give you some perspective as to the sheer scale of this monster. And we've got here is here we can see inside a bit, so you can see that it does indeed.
They smoothed it out. It now really looks like the front of the Robovan.
Yeah, I hate that name. I can't wait for us to go. You remember when Elon told us that was the name of it? And it turned out he was just yanking our electric chains. Inside, we are seeing also, outside here, we've got more, insulation going up on the outside walls. Yeah, it is getting, that door is very large. You can see some man lifts inside. It is got a good chunk of its floors. Right about here, you can see equipment, crates, very large crates with, presumably equipment based on
almost
the reinforcement.
Look like steel containers, don't they?
Do you think they're shipping containers? To me, I guess they could be. Yeah, no, I guess they could be.
But it looks like they've got some sort of components on the bottom right-hand corners of them. Could these be some sort of structured machinery that is modular, maybe?
Yes, it could be. And we've seen equipment like this outside of other factories. It could be temporary ventilation. It could be all kinds of things, but they only do that when and because they need it. Here we can see, yeah, the progress is going great. And peek inside the walls there. It's tough to see. I do have a very big light. You wouldn't know about lighting, would you? Don't worry, folks. We have had a discussion, and when he moves to his new studio, not only will we be, addressing sound and lighting, but I will, of course, be getting him a life-size cardboard cutout of Brian, because that is
everyone's dream. You're correct.
I don't know if that's quite true. If you look inside, you'll see the concrete work is progressing as expected. The real reason you need to head over to Zangler's channel is because there's a whole bunch of footage that he puts up that I don't put up, that I don't show. He's out there getting you all the little nuggets all the time. Looking in here, you can see what's going on, and it's coming along nice. And then, of course, the stamping pit is also progressing quite well. And just the sheer amount of rebar is
incredible.
Incredible. It is. I did have the one question I had gotten was, what are they going to be stamping? Aren't all the panels like fiberglass or something like that? That's a good question. What stamped elements do you think there are?
There could be many stamped elements, but unlike what they've done with the Model Y, where there's one cast element, the stamped elements may be pieced together. This is a smaller volume vehicle, 50,000 a year to start. Could obviously allow them to piece together a number of stampings to make up some of the substructure of the vehicle.
Yes. So it has a ladder frame like you would see on an old pickup, I guess, or like a Model T. I mean, it's got it doesn't have the same kind of thing going on there. And if the cab exterior is fiberglass, you still have the floor. You still have elements in what you would call the firewall. I think you'd still call it the firewall, even if that's not what it is in practice anymore. So yeah, there's a lot of things that are still stamped. And there is a possibility that they would actually be working the frame structure itself. We did want to show this real quick. We've still got this big pile of dirt over here that continues to grow, even though excavations have stopped. Just in the middle right of the screen there. That is presumably additional fill coming in from off-site, but it could be from on-site. It really doesn't matter. All right. It's that time of the show. I made a mistake on the other show that we did this week. I didn't realize that the cascade is right here.
There we are.
Good. We got it. Yeah, it's fantastic. I am a professional. I do this for, I guess, what you would call a living. Here we go with some questions. Great answers and enlightenment as always. A thank you, Calm Canuck. Of course, given the camera angle today, the one unanswered question is, has Mark taken his new keyboard out of the box yet? It's driving the obsessive compulsives out of their mind.
I'm just holding on to drive them crazy. So no, it's still in the box.
I also have a new keyboard in the box, but I only got mine 6 months ago. The Alt key doesn't work on this keyboard. I really should just open that, just swap it out. Federal law states that semi breaks down on the side of the road. A human driver must put out safety reflectors behind the down unit. How's FSD do that?
It doesn't. There's no way that FSD could physically put triangle markers behind the vehicle.
So what's the solution?
The solution is that the guy testing FSD gets out and does that.
Right, but we're talking about an unsupervised future. How will they address it?
I have a feeling the law might change a little bit.
I think the law will have to.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe one solution is maybe you have a much larger, invisible until it's activated triangle on the trailer. That would be cost effective and reasonable. Just have a big triangle that goes on the back of the last trailer or the trailer if it's not a tandem. I think it's a good question, but I think you're right. The law would simply need to adapt. The other question is, well, who do I give a ticket to if it breaks the law? No one. Tickets are for humans. If it's a repeated problem, you deal with the manufacturer who implemented the system, but Waymos don't get tickets.
You could also record the MC number on the side of the vehicle and you could send them a fine.
Yeah. It's a valid question, but a lot of the rules are put in place because if you don't, humans need structure. Mine is a skeleton. What do you use? A shell? All right.
A
We do
keyboard
not
box.
a keyboard box. We do not see Tesla Semi with sleeper cab. Are they coming?
Yes, absolutely, they will come. Because we have seen the Tesla with the what they call the day cab, which is a smaller up front, and then there is the ability to have some jump seats in the back and a little bit more space. You can actually stand up in one of them behind the driver, where a driver could, change his boots or don another coat before he steps out into the cold weather. That is a thing and is available for them now.
All true things. Those are yeah, it is a big space in there. The only way you're not getting a sleeper cab is if somehow fully unsupervised arrives before mass deployment, and I am skeptical of that. Not just because FSD is not yet solved, but because regulations on commercial trucking are likely going to be vastly more complicated than on consumer-owned vehicles. Here's a good one. Will the Semi get LFP batteries? I imagine semis in particular would profit from the larger cycle count, but I'm unsure if the increased volume and mass would make sense. What do you think?
I think that's going to be a wait and type C scenario. Like as we've said in previous episodes, Tesla does all the different batteries. So I am sure they're perfectly aware of the weight ratio compared to the power they need out of the batteries in order to drive the Semi efficiently. So I think it's just going to be some mix and matching based on iteration over time.
Tesla's got LFP capacity coming online. Would they have enough to do it? Maybe. Would the watt hours per mile work? Maybe. The reality is, if this is a 500-mile truck, you could get it easily a 350-mile truck of the same weight using LFP. These vehicles are battery agnostic. So maybe. The answer is maybe. There's no reason it couldn't. And if it introduces a substantial cost savings, they would certainly consider it. Now we've got a couple of really great questions here. I think 24 volts is already the standard for semis, so going to 48 is only twice the advantage of cable weight compared to 4x for a car's vehicle. I'm not sure it scales that directly, but it would be true that from 24 volt to 48 volt, the savings in wiring would be less significant. But what I was able to look up is that in America, in North America, most semis use 12 volt batteries. They often take the form of 3 batteries in parallel to generate 12 volts. Most international trucks have 24 volt. So you were half right. Great. The world is on 2 different standards for trucks. Fantastic.
Not a shock, is it?
Not a shock. No, 24 volts is a bigger shock because, voltage. I tease. And then we've got a farmer's market in a desert. What are they farming? Cacti or goats?
Probably both.
Probably both. I said another booth with jerky. What even is this place? A more serious answer, of course, is that there are a ton of farmers markets. So, and this is for the greater Reno area. Yeah. So it's a good question, but, and let's see, I think there's one more I wanted to get to. And this one, we did already answer this. So having a big stamping section, does that mean the bodies will be steel? It doesn't mean the external ones will. The market could expand for semi beyond freight, right? I see all kinds of trucks that could become, electric, from garbage trucks, street cleaners, cement trucks, etc. That could all be electric.
Absolutely. That's a possibility as we go along. Again, Tesla's aiming at a specific market to try to get into that market, get established, but those other markets can certainly follow as time progresses.
Correct. If a company can upfit from just a semi, there's your answer. It could absolutely be done. I've got, will the Tesla Semi have a bull bar option? Do you know what a bull bar is?
Yeah, that's to push moose and deer out of the way as you're driving through Michigan, as I've discovered. So it's something that is quite essential if you're driving in pre-dawn or sunset hours.
Is there any reason the Tesla Semi could not have it?
There's no reason.
No. Well, the reason is I think people are thinking, wait, is this going to have like giga castings? No. 50,000 a year giga castings would not be the right solution. And this would require a casting of a size that doesn't presently exist. So no. And then let's see here. What happened to Tesla insurance? Could you dive into that? Do you know what happened to Tesla insurance?
It's still out there. It's limited in scope for the number of states that allow it. And of course, Tesla just recently, there was an article about them uh, massaging the stats that they're keeping and what they relate to on insurance. So they're still working with it and they're still iterating with it.
Absolutely. So this article I found, let's see, it is right here. Why has Tesla insurance fallen short for some customers? Well, this talks about problems they're having with the places they have implemented it. But the rollout is the real problem. And we've got some quotes here from Denninger, who said, high-profile startups like Hippo and Lemonade, as example, have had experiences that are similar. These companies come in thinking that the technology part was the hard part, and the insurance, this is old, slow backwater industry. It's not complicated. We can solve it. But then they realize it's really complicated and it's difficult to do without losing your shirt. And that's likely what's happened to Tesla. It's a tough business. It's not something you just roll in and just win. Danger ahead for Tesla insurance. Those are more about the insurance policy itself. They didn't understand the level of difficulty for servicing and managing claims, how much work it is to run an operation center and handle the incoming calls, the support, all of that. They were not prepared for what it meant to actually be an insurance company from an operational perspective. And in the US, you need to get insurance approval to sell insurance on a state by state basis, and every state has its own requirements. It's really a real pain. It's still in the works. I think it is a low priority. I think it seemed like a good idea at the time. But then again, how many things have I done because it seemed like a good idea at the time? You guys, those were fantastic questions. I do appreciate it. Head on over to Mark's channel, The Tesla Life, The Tesla Life. See what they're up to. They have some fantastic content all the time. They refuse to stop. I've asked them nicely. I've sent them a cease and desist, and they said, no, we will not cease. We will not desist. But if you'd like to come on the show, let us know. So I go on the show sometimes instead. I think it's a compromise that works for us. I don't know, man.
Works for all of us. Yeah.
Yeah. In the comments today, I have very good news. The comments are optional, but the questions are mandatory. So again, we're splitting the difference. What do we miss? What do we misunderstand? Like, subscribe, do all of those things. Maybe if you get a chance, you could throw me some support, because it's how I can afford my very expensive habits of things like keeping the lights on and feeding my children. I tried to make them Dickensian beggars. It didn't work out. They only begged me. So guys, stay tuned, stay juicy. I cannot wait to hear from you clever robots when you are deploying a big triangle of hazard behind your broken down semi-truck.